everyone. Welcome to July's episode of I Can't Stop Well Enough Alone. So as we can see, we have a PD engine on the floor. It looks like a BRM with the valve cover, but it is actually a BHW. The BHW CCV actually points straight into the ALH intake, so that won't work. The BRM supposedly has its own CCV. It still has an outlet port, but also really cool is it has a vacuum reservoir built in here, so no longer do we need the ball. But yeah, that's going to go into the CJ. My dad and brother will be here in a couple of hours, so they're going to help me mount this before they go back home. All the wiring has been stripped out from both the engine side and also behind the dash. I also redid the dash to make it a little nicer. So still a work in process. It's going to get a GenRight fuel tank just like this one here, and then I'm going to change the fuel pump that comes with the Jeep YJ, which is a later version of this. Fuel, the actual pump, I'm going to change it out to the BEW one from ID Parts. But it has a new center force clutch. Nothing wrong with the original one. I'll give it to my dad and brother. I'm sure they'll find a use for it. The one thing I did come to find out is, of course, I love Matt Whitbread's adapters. So there's one here, there's one there, and there's one attached to one of those two ALH engines. I think this one. This is the spare engine that came out of the CJ that I will be selling. But one thing that I noticed, and foolish me, I never checked, but these are the 1/2 by 20 by 1-inch bolts that mount the pressure plate, the clutch to the flywheel, and the springs. I'll insert a picture here. The springs were coming in contact, so I'd been noticing some noises when I was sitting at a light, especially in this because this is quiet. Of course, this has an exhaust that goes all the way back. This was just a side pipe that came out next to the passenger door. But every time I was stopped at a light with the clutch released out in its rest state, I heard this rattle sound. I still hear it on this, of course, but I wasn't sure what it was. And I'd never noticed it on the CJ, again, because it was so loud. But once I started trying to become attuned to it, I did find that I picked it up as well, too. So the bolts that come in the kit, the heads are just way too big. So it's actually kissing the back of the springs of the center force clutch. So you can see there's the bolts there. And then these are some bolts that I had from a Mr. Gasket setup that I had for the 4-liter. It is a little bit shorter, but the head is significantly smaller. This is also grade 8, so this can be torqued down to infinity and beyond.
To infinity and beyond!
But I haven't really had much opportunity to drive. Been very busy with life. Gonna be moving to Florida here in about a month, spending a week and a half with my friends. I would like to take this, but the wife said no way, so I guess we're taking the truck. I pulled out the mechanical injection pump for the ALH. I'm gonna be selling that here pretty soon. I just don't see a need for it anymore. So the injection pump with all the fuel pins will go, and once I figure out a final price, I'm thinking about selling it with the whole set HE200 wastegate 5cm, but I probably will not. Again, we'll see. And then the compounds. The compounds will, probably in the end of August, I'm going to be taking a drive and dropping them off to their new owner. I like going for drives, so that'll give me something to do. But yeah, so stay tuned for the next series of videos. I'll probably be a little bit more in depth with these videos on how to and what I'm going to do. I was looking at an Austin Namella video. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. But where he used, this coolant line coming out of the head using the stock pipe, and then it normally veers this way. So I've already measured it. I was thinking about cutting it, welding it in extension, and making a 90, because on the CJ radiator it is up there for the return. And then it has the bottom pipe that normally snakes around the oil cooler, the oil filter and oil cooler, and goes around. So we'll see if I'll leave it like that or kind of change it around. But yeah, right now this is just a basic build. That's why it has the ALH intake and a GTD 1756 that came off of the ALH, and just stock BHW injectors. I already have built the tune for myself, so we'll kind of see how that works. If not, I'll reach out to someone who responds back and actually does decent with tuning over there. So yeah, exciting things. Hopefully I'll have this done by the end of fall, maybe into the winter time. I'm I fully remove the AC. I don't plan on running AC in this thing, but I do want to get a heater box. I see the Jegs ones look pretty good, and I have pretty decent reviews. So.